today's rebuild, we're going to be taking a look at the Denver Broncos. This is a Denver Broncos team that has undergone lots of change this offseason, trading away Jerry Jeudy for pennies on the dollar, releasing their best player in Justin Simmons, and incurring the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history by releasing Russell Wilson. Hype didn't get much better for the Broncos after they reached to draft Bo Nix at pick 12 in the 2024 NFL Draft, but today, we try to develop Bo Nix into a franchise quarterback who over the next 10 seasons will try and turn this Denver Broncos team into champions and into a dynasty. The meat of the Denver Broncos 2024 NFL Draft got some solid value later on. Abrams Drains, a great young corner, productive SEC estimate, was arguably one of the top power backs in the draft class. Troy Franklin in the 4th round might have been their best value pick of them all. A wide receiver that many expected to go in the 2nd round out of Oregon. Unique body type, 6'3", 187. But after moving on from Jerry Jeudy, with Courtland Sutton getting up there in age a little bit, Troy Franklin could be a guy that has a lot of upside for the wide receiver room going forward. Jonah Ellis is a nice rotational pass rusher early on with upside to potentially carve out a role as a starter on the other side of Baron Browning. But the big get, reach or not, is quarterback 1 in Denver, Bo Nix. Will he be a guy that can develop into a franchise quarterback? Well, I'll tell you right now. First things first, during this rookie campaign, we got to do everything we possibly can to get him off that normal dev trait. The stats aren't bad, though. It's definitely a solid base for us to work on. 90 throw power. The accuracy ain't brutal. 84 short accuracy we can work with. Has some great athleticism as well. Utilized more than I think with Auburn than he did with Oregon, but we got a player here potentially, and maybe no one better to help him reach his potential than Sean Payton. So offensively for the Denver Broncos, here's how we're going to line up. The O-line is solid. Pretty weak in the center here right now, but Miners, McGlinchey, Powers, and Bowles are all very serviceable starters. Miners clearly having the highest upside of the bunch, 82 with the dev trait. Dulcich is a developmental tight end. Marvin Mims is a developmental wide receiver. Courtland Sutton is getting up there in age a little bit, but it's definitely going to be the go-to target here in Bo Nix's rookie season. We'd also like to think that the Oregon connection between Bo Nix and Troy Franklin is going to emerge into something. But I think the big key piece on this offense outside of Bo Nix is one of my favorite players. If you said C4 rank your top 10 college running backs over the past 5 years, Javonte Williams would make it. He was so fun to watch in North Carolina. Haven't really stayed up to date on the Denver Broncos. Haven't crushed a lot of non-prime time Denver Broncos games. I don't really know what's going on with Javonte Williams, but I'm going to tell you here today that he is going to be a big part of this offense. Defensively is where we got maybe a little creative, if you will. The front three is lacking a true nose tackle, but they did get a trade with the Jets to get John Franklin Myers over, only 27 years old. Great scheme fit for this defensive front, so still some upside for him to continue to develop. Dak Allen, pretty underrated on the D-line. Baron Browning, I'm going to say kind of a high-ceiling edge rusher for us. I think he's just beginning to scratch the surface. Cooper's good rotational guy. At linebacker, we're going to dog Singleton a little bit just because, you brought in Barton, has better ratings, a little bit younger, even though there's no dev trait. And then this is just, got to figure out how we're going to utilize Drew. He's good at everything, but not great at one thing. Like, you can put him at middle linebacker, and he's 72. You can put him at edge rusher, and he's still going to be a 72. So I don't know where we're going to utilize. Very similar to Barry Browning. Look at that. He got 71 power, or 71 finesse, 73 power, but he also has 70-man coverage. So it's like, you just get him on the field, and I'm not going to say he's going to stay middle linebacker this whole time. Maybe we pivot him to edge rusher at some point in time, but we just got to get him on the field and develop him. With no Justin Simmons in the secondary, it's a big drop-off at safety. We're going to go with Stearns and Brandon Jones, the free agency signing coming over from the Miami Dolphins. Levi Wallace. We got Jaquan McMillan, who kind of broke out a little bit. He's going to be our starting nickel. And Pat Surtain second. Arguably the best. If you're looking in terms of age and upside, he is absolutely in that discussion for the best young corner in the NFL. We're going to reward him with the captaincy, and it's only a matter of time until he gets a gigantic contract. He's not going anywhere. See if we can go Oregon connection. Oh, my God. Welcome to the NFL. There's Myles Garrett in your grill. Stand in the pocket. Find Courtland Sutton and get your first career NFL passing touchdown in front of the Bronco faithful. Javonte Williams has done the hard part, getting the ball downfield here. But it's now time Bo Nix calling up a slant. Love Marvin Mims. elite prolific speed in the slot, or maybe we just say Tucking to do it ourselves, but he throws it up the pad. The touchdown stats. Second of the game, very easy layup to Marvin Mims Jr. Hey, Myles Garrett. Good God. Come on, Garrett Bowles. Block him. Oh! I know this is Bo Nix, but Javonte, 88-yard house call. That is how you take the pressure off your young rookie quarterback when Myles Garrett's having a field day. Come on, Nick. Slam dunk to Dulcich. Hey, another player on this offense. Chance to break out. Chance to establish himself. Maybe as a starter. Maybe as a key piece for this rebuild going forward. And that's the hat trick for Bo Nix in his NFL debut. Week 3, we get a breakout scenario. Caden Stearns up to a star dev. It is a long road for him to be like a true safety successor of the great Justin Simmons. But this is the beginning steps of that. Looking at our contracts here, gonna be honest, didn't think we were gonna have $114 million. Thought it was gonna be a little bit tougher after the Russell Wilson situation, but 114, we can work with that. Honestly, let's get Garrett Bowles on a 1 year. 15 mil, it's expensive, but pretty good Band-Aid if you're kind of viewing this as a short-term Band-Aid. We're going to give Jaquan McMillan a 3-year, $10 million deal. I think there's still a lot of upside there for him as our nickel corner. We're going to go 4-year, $16 million for the new star dev safety, Caden Stearns, only 24. As far as pass rushers, Cooper does have the dev trait, 26 years old, but we just got so much depth. Benito is a dev trait rusher that's a rotational depth guy. Jonah Ellis, our 3rd-round pick, our 2nd pick of the draft, rotational depth guy. So I think something has to give, and I'd rather gamble on the traits and upside of Baron Browning here. We're going to give him a 4-year, $32 million deal to get him locked in. Now, this may seem like a lot, but again, I am absolutely confident Javonte Williams is going to be a fixture of this offense, of this rebuild. So we're going to lock him in 6 years till he's 30. We're keeping him for his prime. And lastly, we're going to go 6 years, $82 million, keeping Quinn Meinerz until he's 32. I think that's the best piece of business we can get. He's the highest upside lineman. I think his ceiling is probably in the low 90s. So I wanted to be a part of this project long term. Now, at the end of year 1, I don't want to say this is an overachieve, but we're trending that territory. Look at the offense. I mean, best case scenario, clearly, if Sean Payton can figure it out. Sean Payton is the kind of coach that can absolutely have a top 10 offense. So we are very much best case scenario. Very surprised by that rushing numbers. Happy that it's Javonte, but I don't know. Denver's been a team that you will occasionally see in the playoffs. I don't think they're a brutal playbook. Don't have a lot of experience with it, though. Defense not good enough. Work in progress, right? It's a work in progress. We have gone through a transitionary year, really on both sides of the ball. But defense, losing Justin Simmons is a monumental loss that we weren't going to fix overnight. Would have loved to see maybe Patrick Surtain kind of take command and have a little bit better than the 31st pass defense in the league. But, again, work in progress. It can't be too critical with how much that offense overachieved here in year 1. Bo Nix, 3rd place in Offensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe, surprisingly, we have an Offensive Player of the Year candidate, Javonte Williams, in the top 5. Bo Nix was 9th in yards, 11th in passing touch. That's a solid year. I will say little worried that that's not going to be good enough based off of that production to get him off the normal dev trade. But you know what? We've gone through a string of rebuilds where our quarterbacks have just popped off right away. We did Arch Manning. We've done Drake May. We did Shedeur Sanders. You know, we had all these quarterbacks that like pretty much immediate success, and they're off to the races. So maybe to appreciate a little bit more of a grind in terms of growth and development and getting to where we want to be with Bo Nix here with a solid year 1. But Javonte Williams averaging almost 100 yards rushing a game, 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns. Where did that come from? I mean, Nix was solid there with the rushing yards as well. On the receiving standpoint, Cortland Sutton, 76 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 tuds, 11-9 from Marvin Mims, 6-6 from Dulcich, 6-5 from Franklin. Very happy with these numbers, especially if this becomes the pace. Doesn't have to be every year, but if we can get like 7 out of the 10 years of the rebuild, that the offense can play and operate like this, maybe a little bit more out of Bo Nix, we're going to be difficult to beat. Maybe the most surprising thing is Jonah Ellis, who was very much DN3 on my squad, got defensive rookie there. I think that's maybe on the weak class, but good God. Drew Sanders was ridiculous. 124 tackles, 8 TFLs, 2 sacks, 4 picks. Love seeing that. 9.5 sacks on 16 TFLs for Franklin Myers. Great. 8.5 sacks for Baron Browning. We're 3-4. I'll take it. And the rookie, Jonah Ellis, 57 tackles, 11 TFLs, 7 sacks. I mean, he's on normal dev. That might be enough to give him star, and he could succeed Jonathan Cooper right away. Him on one side, Baron Browning on the other. 12 TFLs, 6.5 sacks for Zach Allen. Happy with that. 3 picks, PS2, a couple twos. I mean, really happy with those interception numbers. I actually think we're probably on a string of these 10-year rebuilds where interceptions have been butt cheeks. Like, we're getting 5 for the whole team. The first round of the playoffs, the battle of the 9 and 8 squads, but the Texans are definitely on paper more talented, reflected by their 84 overall rating. Pretty good offense, pretty solid defense, but hey, we can shock the world. Yeah, end up losing an ugly one. Hey, not bad for a butt cheeks defense. We hold a playoff team to 13 points. However, offensively, a little bit of a rough go. That looks like a rookie quarterback starting his first playoff game. So we'll be back. We'll be better. We overachieved year 1. I wasn't expecting playoffs till year 3, to be honest with you. On the offensive side, no dev trade for Bo Nix as the season concludes, but we did get a superstar dev increase on Javonte Williams, who honestly, I mean, it might be tough to replicate this season, but we need to be in the ballpark. We cannot be going back down. We got, 16 and 16 roughly. So I don't want to see him get any less than 12 and 12. That needs to be the floor. On the defensive side, some big dev traits being handed out. John Franklin Myers goes from star to superstar. Drew Sanders goes from star to superstar. And Brandon Jones goes from star up to a superstar. Jonah Ellis, after winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, makes the jump from normal up to a star dev. No regression for anybody. Hell yeah. That is absolute win, especially for how not great the defense was overall. Now, before free agency starts, I think we try to get value for Benito. 73 star dev pass rusher, only 25 years old, entering the final year of his contract. So the Indianapolis Colts were interested, trying to refine their pass rush a little bit. So I wanted to get a 3rd-round pick. Had to throw in a 4th to make it happen, but that's still, not bad value at all. Now, we didn't have a crazy free agency period. We kind of just went more so for how the board kind of fell out for us. And we needed a center. And we got one in Cam Jurgens, the man that was handpicked by Jason Kelsey to be his successor in Philadelphia. He hits the open market, and that is like a 12-point overall upgrade over the center we had last year. And then we just needed some D-tackle depth at a true nose tackle. We got Bobby Brown, 25-72. Just get another guy, opportunity to potentially start depending on how we go in the draft. And maybe there could be a sneaky dev trait if he does, in fact, end up being our starter. Now, sitting here at pick 21, if you believe it, my 3 focus scouting were 3 defensive tackles. All 3 are gone. Okay, to pivot. I think there could be an argument made that McMillan here at wide receiver. And we could go Oregon, double up on the Oregon. Tez Johnson can fall a little bit. Evan Stewart out of Oregon. Maybe we wait 2nd round, we go wide receiver. Maybe get someone with some more upside, but 2 Oregon options there to pair with Troy Franklin to try and recreate that Oregon Ducks offense. Other needs for the team, I mean, we could get younger at tackle, but again, the run-on tackles kind of went for the top-tier guys. Again, nothing really left on the offensive line at center, but do we really want to pull the trigger on a center? Probably not here in the 1st round. Defensively, got some guys, but not really scheme-fit players that we are looking for right now. We need more of a 3-4 defensive end, which that could be in Zane Durant. Josh Farmer also fills that role, but I don't like pick from scraps. I don't like just sitting there and looking at the board and being like, oh, well, what do we got left? What is left on the board? And we'll be happy to take that. Can't even get the top linebacker. Barrett Card out of Clemson. He's off the board because that is a position that we could look at upgrading. Deontay Lawson out of Alabama. A-zone coverage. Big-time athletes. Interesting. But I do think the play is secondary because we don't really have an outside corner on a Pat Surtain, or at least one that we really, really like. We do like Jaquin McMillan there at nickel. Obviously, Pat Surtain on one side, contract coming up. We've just used Will Johnson so much, and I think we do need to treat each rebuild as its own thing, but we'll spice it up here a little bit. because I know for a fact that this guy is almost as good. And we're going to go grab Benjamin Morrison, corner out of Notre Dame to spice it up, who is pretty much, I don't want to say it's a 1A, 1B, but it's pretty damn close. Who's going to be the top corner drafted next year? Maybe a little outside by Travis Hunter, outside chance, but it is really going to come down to, like, if Benjamin Morrison has the best year next year out of all the corners, he'll go first over Will Johnson. If Will Johnson has the best year, etc., etc. And we're very happy here with Morrison. 6 feet tall, 92 acceleration, 94 speed, hidden dev corner. And he's still there, Evan Stewart, the former #1 wide receiver recruit. Eventually finding his way to Oregon. Never actually paying with Bo Nix until now. He's going to have this opportunity. Ready to go and grab him. And we get a hidden dev playmaker. I don't know where he's going to fit on the team year one. But Cortland Sutton's getting up there in age. Likely not going to get another contract with us. And I think we start looking at where this wide receiver room is going to be. Year 3, year 4 of this rebuild. And Evan Stewart, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. Sounds pretty good to me. Why not another Oregon Duck? Why not just become Oregon? When you look at the offense, Garrett Bowles is on a 1-year rental. So I think trying to take a swing at someone that might have a dev trait. I mean, good news is they won't lose a dev trait by not playing. And hopefully the base rating's solid enough that he can really grow and develop into more than what looks like a swing tackle right now. We need a linebacker that can go play right next to Drew Sanders and Perkins out of Ole Miss. A tackle, a pursuit, big-time athlete, easily the layup we need to make. Fortunately, no dev trait. So take a look at our draft recap. Ratings pretty good. Outside of, Connor really for the value in the 3rd round, 68. That's a little bit of a rough pick. 67 kicker, not my greatest selection. We got Nabu Jr., 71 guard. Powers is not getting any younger at left guard. Perkins, 73 is outstanding value. Wish there was a dev trait there, but still 3rd round pick, 73 for a guy that likely is going to start with an opportunity to go up dev trait. You got to take that. Evan Stewart in the 2nd round, 74 hidden dev. And Morrison in the 1st round, 76 hidden dev. And that's going to be a day 1 starter for us on the outside corner. I will say I did think about cutting Josh Reynolds just because, value necessarily wasn't there. But he had the mentorship tag. We rolled with it. And he wants to take Troy Franklin under his wing. So that is value within itself. The $2 million cap hit is worth what we're about to get, +2 release, +2 deep route running. Let's go. So we had an interesting decision to make. After the selection of Evan Stewart, he's kind of the odd man out right now. He's not going to play for us. He's a hidden dev wide receiver from Oregon. Bo Nix, obviously vouching for him. Cortland Sutton, 29 years old, 85 stars, still some value, but in the final year of his contract. So just seeing what kind of offers are out there. And we got a situation. Lynn McNeil, pretty sure he's set for a contract. I don't know if they just gave him money. I'm assuming he's usually a free agent in year 2. 81, he's a nose tackle, which is easily the biggest need that we have. And they're throwing a 3rd round pick in it. I think we got to make this move. Thank you for your service, Cortland Sutton. But that is too good of an offer for us to pass up at a position of need. Last season, we hit our one and only in-season dev trait scenario. And we have an opportunity here. Very tough matchup. We got a hot start, 3-1. Of course, the Chiefs undefeated. Regular linebacker, I don't know who it would be for. It is Jonah Ellis, last year's reigning, defending defensive rookie of the year. If he can put Pat Mahomes on his ass, he's going to be a superstar. It's not looking good. We lost. But do we get a silver lining? Nope. So at the bye, even coming off a loss, we are 2 games back. 1 game back likely in the wild card spot. But we have a top 5 offense, defense, middle of the mall, which is not too shabby. With an absurd amount of salary cap, $162 million. I mean, we drafted success. I mean, we didn't hit on the mid-round pick there at Oregon. So if Garrett Bowles wants to come back for 1 more year, that's just another Band-Aid that we can kick that need of getting an offensive tackle. A little bit down the road there. Zach Allen, a little pricey. Greg Dulcich, also a little pricey. But we do have a lot of money. And I still think there's a ceiling there for him to reach. What an ass. We're able to get John Franklin Myers on a 2-year deal. He's 28, so he'll keep him to his 30s, it's the remainder of his prime. And you got to remember, he hit superstar dev last season, so hopefully that is just the beginning of him becoming an X Factor. There you go. This is a layup. 5 years, $118 million for Pat Surtain, who is insane. 99 X Factor before the season's done. Easy. Layup. Give Dulcich $200,000 more. That was enough for him and his agent to get this one over the line. You know what, Zach Allen? I like Zach Allen. I like him when he was at Arizona, so we're going to offer him a 1 year. Wow, I don't want to up the years, though. Psych, I don't want to up the years, but I was able to give him $400,000 more for 1 year, and there we go. Much like Garrett Bowles, kind of kicked that can down the road, and we don't have to rush to get a 3-4 defensive end to succeed him this offseason. Coming out of a very nice Week 9 victory, 38-21 over the Jets. Got a weekly award winner, and man, this guy, I don't know what it is. He's just finding ways to bump his way into the rebuild. Jonah Ellis, 10 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, fumble recovery, player of the week. This is also worth noting, we just straight up beat the Chiefs in the sim, which that's a gigantic, that's as good as making it to a conference championship. If you are in the AFC, let alone the AFC West, and you know that you could beat the Chiefs in the sim, and it's not one-sided, because usually it is incredibly one-sided. This is only year 2 that we're getting wins like this. To close out year 2, I mean, it's tough to beat the Chiefs, tough to compete with the Chiefs. We compete, though, 11-6, runner-up in the AFC West. We finished with a top 5 offense, and our defense still a little disappointed. The passing numbers aren't great, given some of the talent we have in the secondary, but overall, almost a top 10 defense. For story for Bo Nix this year, top 5 in MVP voting. He was 6th in passing yards, 9th in touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, which certainly helps his case. Our only other award winners are, well, Offensive Rookie of the Year going to Evan Stewart, Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Sundarine Perkins. Will, in passing, respect what Javonte did. Another outstanding season, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. We got 1,007 from Mims, 1,004 from Franklin. Stewart, the Rookie of the Year, 865 yards with 10 touchdowns. Even Dulcich, that might be a superstar def. 78 catches, 800 yards, 9 touchdowns for a tight end is outstanding. Ben Powers goes the whole season. He was actually runner-up for Lineman of the Year without giving up a sack. And on the defensive side, Perkins, 110 tackles, 10 TFLs, 2 picks. We got 104 tackles, 5 TFLs, 4 picks for Sanders. The sacks they're not great. Regressed from a year ago. I mean, McNeil, that's still a hell of a year for a nose tackle. 54 tackles, 18 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. But, I mean, the TFLs, they're just not, they don't feel as good. They're important. They're very much important. And I guess getting 20 plays in the backfield, if that's how you want to break down, is not brutal. But you definitely like to see a little bit more on the sack front. 4 picks for Pat Surtain, 2 for Perkins, 2 for the rookie Benjamin Morrison, who popped as a superstar dev. After going 1 and done in the playoffs last year, let's try not to repeat that against the 9-8 Colts, who are pretty good offensively. I like to think, as a whole, our Broncos squad is a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more diverse. Psych, we got shit pumped. 35-12. Somehow, a Player of the Week performance from Perkins. But that's brutal. That's a brutal performance. As it relates for the division, our year 2 Super Bowl champion is not the Chiefs, as Drake May and the Vikings absolutely crushed it. But the pressure is now on, not so much because the team within the division didn't win the Super Bowl, but quarterback from the same class able to go win a Super Bowl. We need to step up with Bo Nix. But at our depth traits, Bo Nix, hell of a year. Enough for sure to get off the normal dev. So he is now an 80 with a gigantic +5 boost. Quarterback star dev, I think maybe a little harsh that Javonte didn't go up to an X factor. 1,500 yards, 15 plus touchdowns. But I will take this for an upgrade. Dulcich goes from star up to superstar. Got to have easily top 5 numbers for a tight end. But Stewart, I thought sometimes you get Rookie of the Year and you don't get a dev trait. I almost feel like you need to have like a really good rookie season statistically on top of the award to get it. No, I mean, he had a good year. Touchdowns were there, yards under 1,000, but for winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, he is up to a superstar dev. And the fact that we essentially, kind of went with his development and growth and shipped off Cortland Sutton, that's a hell of a return on investment. On the defensive side, as far as dev traits are concerned, we lost the superstar on John Franklin Myers. We gained a star on Defensive Rookie of the Year Perkins, who was a normal dev, and everyone else holds on to their dev traits. So while we have an absolute war chest in free agency, $113 million, which is not that big of a deal because we have a lot of players, I think, young enough on our roster upcoming that we're going to need to pay over the next couple of seasons that it's totally fine to roll over that salary cap room. And in another universe where Javonte's not crushing it, bringing Christian McCaffrey back home would have been a badass storyline. It just, the only way that this would make sense if we just sign him and make him a slot wide receiver, which I would have wondered. Like, he'd probably be still like an 84, 85 wide receiver if I had to guess. But anyways, there's just not the free agency class that we need. Our team's in a good spot. Our secondary has struggled, so I was like, maybe we can get another outside corner. But, you just look, they're all, rentals. Benford might be the best of the bunch. And even then, we have our 2 outside guys. It'd be more of a slot need. And, we got Riley Moss. last of a dying breed that we're going to get. I mean, we might pivot there, and that's what we can look at during the draft. I know my focus scouting is like 3-4 defensive ends just because John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen are in contract years, but there's nothing there in free agency either. So it's not a great role, but it's not the worst thing to be able to keep all that money because it means it's going to be that much easier to re-sign our own guys in the coming seasons. So for our scouting, I just bit the bullet, went all in on D-tackle because I still think we need, and I looked at two guys here clearly would fit that role of 3-4 defensive ends. Not the best. You know, I saw the A finesse move. They're undersized, so the combines are going to be pretty good, but the combines obviously just were not good enough to compensate to bump that value up there a little bit. So, easily the biggest guy on our board is Marquell Crocker out of Penn State. A 3B, 6'3", 304, so it could be a DN. Combine is pretty damn good. He's a first-round talent. Now it's where's he going? He's probably going 10-ish range, if I had to guess. I would be aggressive in trading up to get him, if it makes sense. And he's going at pick 8. And we are picking, what, 23. I mean, how about this? Because we've been lied to before. If he's still on the board at pick 8, we'll see what Arizona wants. All right, let's just act like he was off the board and I didn't hit skip to my own pick. All right, let's act like he was already gone before pick 8. We got lied to. That's easier for me to cope. Oh, God damn it. All right, well, we're pivoting back here again. Looking for some dogs. We got Mello Smith at D-tackle. 3 Bs. Was the combine good? Combine's not bad. That is a high bench press for a man that's 300 and almost built like a nose tackle running at 4.91. I just know this is like a blind. All right, great. Didn't do our proper scouting. He's probably gonna stink. Wait. Real quick. Let's just make sure there's no cheesy, easy blind pick corner available. Not really. I did look through the corner class. A couple guys I think could be interesting. Landry Wallace has 3 Bs. He's a 3rd, 4th round pick. There was someone else down here that had a couple A's. This guy right here, Keontae Borden, A press B. Could be something. I don't know. All right, screw it. Let's go with that D-tackle. And hopefully we get ourselves a really nice roll. Wait just a second. This guy here also has 3 Bs and a C. Are you a better athlete? Interesting. This is a tough call. A playback, B pursuit, B tackle. B pursuit, B tackle, C awareness. This guy has B awareness, B pursuit. B finesse, B power. Oh, it looked like this is just, I wish we had more scouting. C finesse, C power. Yes! Now we're in a position where you kind of look at where this team might be losing players. And Ben Powers at left guard, even though he just did not give up a sack. He's about to be 29, looking for a contract. And we got ourselves a big-time athlete with a pass block, which I love taking a swing on these guys when you can get them. And that is a hit in the 2nd round for the Broncos. Next BPM in the 3rd round is Stephen Conley out of Florida. A pursuit, A zone coverage. Athletically speaking, very good for the position. We don't really need linebacker per se, but I suppose there's a chance that Drew Sanders is going to want an absolute bag that might not be worth paying, especially if this guy ends up being a dev trait. Damn it. Peeking around at everyone else's work from this draft before we look at our own, and pretty good there from the Chargers, especially landing a 75 hidden dev wide receiver in the 2nd round. That is insane, considering that is a big position they need to get weapons for Justin Herbert. Not a great pick from the Chiefs, 74 tackle. Seen better. I've also seen worse. We have the Raiders down here. Hey, got some nice value. 71 wide receiver, 72 D tackle, 76 wide out. Brandon Knight, hidden dev out of Alabama. Very, very well-rounded looking player there. But for the good guys, the Denver Broncos, we got value. 71 there for Elliott. Now, we are going to have a move to defensive end. Usually it's the other way around. Usually if you're taking a 300-pound D end and you move him to D tackle, you get a nice bump up. I don't know if that's the same case when you move him around. No, at least he stays even. We don't lose any points. 75 hidden dev guard in the 2nd round. Conley, linebacker, 70. Good rating. I got that corner that had, I think it was A press. 69, and a couple lame picks to kind of wrap it out. No one really had a crazy draft. I think it's pretty even across the division. So it took till week 7 for us to get our second win of the year. Rankings aren't bad. Offense slightly dipping a little bit. Defense is playing better than it ever has. Just the wins have not been there. Going backwards in year 3, that's not ideal. I will say I do think a part of this is from a roster standpoint, we have $138 million lack of talent, I guess would be the argument. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's look at how we should spend this money. Best case. Cam Jurgens has been a solid center, but we could probably just draft one. We could probably get a better upgrade at slot corner. We did make the trade for Lee McNeil. I do think there is some upside there, but I don't think he's going to take this offer. I don't want to pay him much more than that, to be honest with you. We got superstar safety Brandon Jones locked in on a 2-year deal. Keep him until he's 30, so we can use him up for the rest of his prime. 5-year, $47.5 million for a back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver Marvin Mims. I know it's the argument comes up. You can't pay linebackers, but when you're as productive as Drew Sanders has been, you don't think twice about it. I think it's only a matter of time until he's an X factor. And at the end of year 3, we do get a win over the Patriots, but at this point, we were so far out of the playoffs. A loss would have helped because then we can make a big-time draft pick. 7 and 10. But, you still look at the rank. Obviously, Bo Nix struggled a little bit here. Offense, the defense is fine. Like, what are the odds, right? First 2 years of this rebuild, offense overachieved. Offense, great. Borderline one of the best. And then the first year that our defense plays good, our offense just is god-awful. Do get one award winner is Baron Browning wins linebacker of the year, which I imagine his sacks probably look pretty nice. And people on the defense, looks pretty good. Drew Sanders, paid for that contract. Perkins was solid. Look at that. Baron Browning, 91 tackles, 15 TFLs, 19.5 sacks. That is a hell of a year. 7.5 from Ellis. I'm fine with that. And Lee McNeil actually crushes it. I think I need to pay. I was going with the idea of screw it. We're probably going to be able to get a role where we get one of those 350-pound nose tackles that will do the same job. I think that's worthy of a contract. That is outstanding for a nose tackle. And he's young enough that, even though it's paying us, we get him locked in for another 3 years, for an example. That's probably good business. So I think we will revisit Lee McNeil's contract before the offseason begins. No 1,000-yard receiver. Myron Mims leads the room, so that looks decent, given the fact that we paid him. Franklin was okay. Stewart was good. I don't know if that's good enough to keep his superstar dev. Dulcich was fine. Javonte still, that's not a brutal year, all things considered. 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. It's also not necessarily a standard that he's set. And then looking at Bo Nix, just not good enough. Not enough production offensively, especially for a guy that was top 5 in MVP last year. Of course, somehow the Raiders win the Super Bowl before we do. The bad news is we lost a superstar on Dulcich. The good news is Evan Stewart keeps his, and you probably could very easily make the argument it's more important for him to keep his dev trait than Dulcich. And defensively, Jonah Ellis and Baron Browning both go up to superstar. No dev trait regression on our linebackers. Elliott, our first-round pick, 75 star. We can build off of that. Lee McNeil gains the dev trait, which puts maybe even more pressure on us to go re-sign him, not let him hit the open market. As far as, we're going to have a good pick. Where do we need to go? 3-4 defensive end, getting that Aaron Donald guy that sometimes exists. Maybe we could find one of those. Another corner, I suppose. How much do you want to prioritize nickel corner? That might be something if we can get a good corner in the second round, some of those beasts at 6'4" that fall the second. That'd be nice. Offensively, maybe it's inevitable that Garrett Bowles is going to retire. Powers is up there, but we have Woodard, our other hidden dev pick. He's going to be able to slide over there. We do need a new starting center, so we're going to let Jurgens hit the open market, but you're not going to draft a center in the first round. So I don't know. Interesting spot. We could be BPA, but I would like to think the best chance of getting an impact playmaker might be at defensive end here. But before we do anything, I'm absolutely not picking up the option on Bo Nix. $63 billion. Are you kidding me? I'm going to come up with a big offer here for Lee McNeil. About $2-3 million per year more than what he originally turned down. Congrats. You won yourself the franchise tag. So for free agency, we got some cash, and Tyler Smith played tackle at Tulsa. It'd be pretty cool if he wants to come to the good guys. We got ourselves a very expensive but well worth it franchise tackle. So it's the second straight year we've heavily focused on the defensive line. I actually scouted 3, like focus scouted. We got Thomas Weaver. There's our nose tackle. So that gives us, the way that I think about it, we got Lee McNeil on the franchise tag, but that money long term, shift that towards Tyler Smith now at tackle. Someone like Weaver, that's going to be value. However, we need someone else who can play on the line. And I think Dwayne Fender looked pretty good as well. 3 Bs, NAC, 6'5", 310. Combine, pretty good. And I guess that is going to be a consolation prize if we can't find a way to get this beast. Junior Carruthers, 6'4", 302. A finesse, A power, A tackle, elite speed, elite agility, elite acceleration, 39 reps on the bench press. Good freaking God, I need this guy. Now, I'm not going to necessarily sabotage, but I would love to see that in a mock draft he's going like not 1. And he is going 4th. That's a little more doable. Now, I've learned enough, not anymore, to trade up before we see how the board. We pick at 8. So if there's a way that Carruthers is still there when it is time, 2, 3, let's go get him. And I'm not going to say finesse him, but I was very surprised that they accepted this offer. I said John Franklin Myers, who's 29, 78, not brutal, but also I don't think there's a whole lot of value there. But to move up, a couple spots here in the first round, but it is still moving up within the top 5. It cost us our 3rd round pick this year. I'm not complaining. I guess, hey, they really like John Franklin Myers, I guess. But now on the clock, the Denver Broncos at pick 4 are going to get an absolute freak. We said we needed to hopefully find an Aaron Donald type. And boy, oh boy, do we got one. Please, please, please. I'm not even saying you got to be an X Factor, all right? Just don't be star. Don't be this good out the box and be a goddamn starter. I don't even know what that base rating is going to be. It's probably going to be 78, probably 77, 78. But this guy is going to be a monster, and we're about to see if in this Broncos defense sim, a D lineman can get double-digit sacks. Not much at corner, so you kind of get a look at, athletically speaking, who is worthy of a selection here in the 2nd round. And Mitch Drummond got the best athletic traits. Elite acceleration, 2nd in the 40, 2nd in the bench, top 5 in the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Hey, we'll take that. Always draft athletes, always a safe bet, especially if you're blind picking. The 3rd round now, it's time to pull the trigger on the nose tackle. I've not had the best luck getting dev traits with nose tackles, but the rating's usually pretty good. And with a perfect 99 strength, well, suddenly Lee McNeil and his agent got a lot less leverage for that contract extension. I think we finished this up in terms of finding start. We need a center, and I got 2 centers that look pretty damn good. They got a pass block, which, unique traits, right? Pretty good athlete here in Craig Richards. We got Manny Ventura, who has a pass block. Pretty good traits as well. I think the fact that he has potentially not D in run blocking, it could be a C. And it's pretty good. I think we go with the upside here, potentially, even though it's minimal upside. And let's go dev trait. And this was a day 3 center. In the spirit of saving the best for last, we had a really good draft class. Not a bad there from the Super Bowl champion Raiders. Couple 70s with their first couple picks. Kind of annoying, honestly, that they had that solid of a draft, picking that late. But is what it is. Looking at the Chiefs. Whoa, 78. Of course, the rich get richer. They do not need to be finding a player like that late in the first round. Brutal. Chargers do all right as well. Laying a 76 corner. Isaiah Stewart out of Boston College. Big-time athlete. He looks pretty solid, but I'll tell you what. Denver Broncos being aggressive. Look at this freak. Junior Carruthers. Now, we'll do it live right now and move in the defensive end. That's where he's going to play. He'll be left defensive end. He's left-handed. Maybe that does something to work. He goes up 81 to an 82. Let's go. 84 power, 77 finesse, 84 speed, 87 acceleration, 93 strength, 83 tackle, 77 awareness. Oh, my God. Very good. Please don't be a disappointing dev trait. Drummond in the 2nd round, 76 hidden dev corner. We got Weaver, 74 hidden dev D tackle with that 99 strength. Ventura in the 4th round, 73 hidden dev. We got a 70 running back in the 5th. Rick Woodley, he's just normal. Kind of just simmed it out, honestly, at the end of that. But S-tier draft. Absolute S-tier draft. Actually, you know what? We'll give it A tier. And this dev, the midway point of year 4. We are 4-3. When you look at our rankings, not the best. Top 10 defense. We've had some outstanding defensive performances this season. Week 7, it is our rookie Carruthers, 6 tackles, 3 sacks. Only a couple weeks earlier, Drew Sanders had 7 tackles, a sack, and 3 interceptions. So our defense is playing good. I'm a little worried about Bo Nix and the guys on the offense, however. But it is contract time, and we've seemingly had an insane amount of money to be playing with for the past rebuild. So we got to figure out how to best spend this money. And unfortunately, I think McNeil is actually having a pretty decent season, but we have a successor there in place. Dev trait with more upside. I think this is where we could save a couple bucks. We got to pay Bo Nix because this is a Bo Nix rebuild. So that's going to keep him until he's 29, which would take us to year 7 of the rebuild. This would take us to year 8. I think let's go 4. We'll go 4 and we'll round these numbers up here just so that, if things aren't working well and he's starting to regress, we still have year 9 and year 10 to pivot off of this contract. So we're able to lock in Bo Nix, who has, at a point in this rebuild, played like an MVP candidate. We got Jonah Ellis, who has maybe been the surprise kind of breakout player. If we're going to hand out this kind of cash, might as well keep him till he's 30. Try to get him for his prime. We'll round this one up here a little bit. 6 years, $99 million for the former third-round pick, legacy player as well. Brothers in the NFL. His dad was a great for the Detroit Lions. So that leaves us with Troy Franklin, who unfortunately, with Mims and Stewart, has relegated himself to a wide receiver 3 role. Still some value there. So I'm thinking, and he's young, he's old, he's only 23 years old, so we can lock him in. I think we go for 34, somewhere in that range. Ah, god damn it. We'll come back next week and get this one over the line. That's what I'm talking about, baby. 12-5 here in year 4, our first AFC West championship of the rebuild. I wish the offense was a little more consistent. Wish we were getting a little bit, at least in terms of yardage, out of Bo Nix. But at this point in time, you gotta take the wins as they come, and we will take our first divisional championship. Now, we had a couple hidden dev rookies that we should talk about before this run. One is Ventura, our center. He was a day 3 pick, finishing his rookie campaign, regular season 77 with the star dev. We got Drummond, who's also a star dev. I don't know the dev trait of the nose tackle. Hasn't played a lot ahead of McNeil. Oh, yeah, this guy's pretty good. Junior Carruthers, X Factor. That is exactly what you want to see when you're aggressive and you go up and trade for a player, which in reality, if you take all of my 10-year rebuilds that we've done, we're starting that as like a new chapter, I'm probably 50% when I make an aggressive trade up for a player that they end up being, generational, if you will. So he would have been like an 81, 82 X Factor. I'd say that's good enough to be generational, especially for a D-tackle, 3-4 defensive end. And sky is the limit for this guy. You got Defensive Player of the Week with a 3-sack performance. And I mean, if we got him playing, we got Jonah Ellis getting after the quarterback, Baron Browning getting after the quarterback. This is going to be a scary defense. I'm starting to understand why the defense played so much better this year. And all of our awards this season come on the defensive side of the ball. Baron Browning wins Linebacker of the Year. Ellis and Sanders both finish within the top 5. We got some love when the rookie is already just outside the top 5 in his original campaign. Absolute absurdity. He got Defensive Rookie of the Year. For Defensive Player of the Year, Drew Sanders coming in at 3. The rookie Carruthers already a top 10 defensive player in the league. And you know what? Now looking at it, the yards aren't great for Bo Nix. I will take 32 touchdowns, 8 picks. Those are good enough numbers for me, considering that the rushing offense is still, we kind of still go through Javonte Williams. The yards are down a little bit, but back up with his double-digit touchdowns. 1,000 yards, double digits for Marvin Mims. Decent year from Evan Stewart. Solid from Franklin. 9 touchdowns, Dulcich. You love to see that. But the defense is where it's at. Drew Sanders, 118 tackles, 5 TFLs, 3 sacks, 5 picks. Big-time production. We got 13 sacks on 12 TFLs, 64 tackles for the rookie. Junior Carruthers, 11.5 for Baron Browning, 8 from Ellis, 6 for McNeil. And this is, I would say right now, the only thing I don't like, I think PS2. Patrick Tan should be constantly getting 3, 4, 5 interceptions, maybe even more. Like 3 should be his floor. And the fact that he finished with 1 is really the only disappointment on otherwise an outstanding defensive unit this year. One that could and should take us deep in the playoffs. So the first round of the playoffs, we get the 11-6 Pittsburgh Steelers, who bring a top 10 offense. Defensively, not the best. Going up against the best defense in the NFL. and we handle business 21-14 on the back of a Player of the Week performance. Both Benjamin Morrison with his interception gets Defensive Player of the Week. Bo Nix with 2 times. I mean, that's, wow, how is that the best? We'll take it, though. Good confidence booster going into the next round. But speaking of the next round, it is against those goddamn Kansas City Chiefs. And even though I feel outstanding about my team, the Chiefs are still better. 90 overall. Mahomes crushed it. This is the #1 offense against the #1 defense. And I am not egotistical enough. Even those guys role players. We got to get them out. Everyone needs to be all hands on deck. Best on best. We've been able to beat the Chiefs in the sim. I wouldn't say it's super consistent, but I feel like, honestly, we're 2, 4, 6. We've played them 8 times. This would, or, well, yeah, 8. This would be 9. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like 4-4. Like, I feel like we've been splitting it. But KC in the playoffs, the tough assignment. It's a very tough assignment, but not tough enough. Year 4, the Denver Broncos on the back of back-to-back lackluster, but I guess everyone's sucking, so giving them the award. Bo Nix, Offensive Player of the Week performances. The Denver Broncos in Year 4 have punched their ticket back to the Super Bowl, where the Atlanta Falcons stand in our way. Caleb Williams, it looks like that's where he went. We got a lot of upgrades for the Super Bowl, but no one is getting better and more prepared for this game to have the breakout. To realize, Aaron Donald just retired. We talked about those before in FIFA, when like Messi, Ronaldo, all those guys retire. Someone like pops up in free agency that's just going to be like the recreation of them. A player that's going to be as good, 90-some player like Messi and Ronaldo. And that doesn't exist in Madden. But I like to think if it did exist, this is the guy that was generated in the draft class when Aaron Donald retired. All right. Hey, you know what? No matter what way you cut it, Atlanta is one of the more overpowered teams you can run into the NFC. It's not the Dallas Cowboys, but I'd put them in that. Like, I think Dallas is the only S-tier team. But I would say Philly. I would say Atlanta. I would say, in my personal experience, I find Seattle is a tough draw in the sim from a sim standpoint. But you can definitely make the argument after Dallas, the Atlanta Falcons are the second most annoying team to play in the Super Bowl, representing the NFC. And they strike first with a touchdown. We have to settle for a field goal. I like that our defense responded a little bit there, but getting gassed near the end of the first half, give up a field goal. And 3rd and 8, well, we're going to cash in our 3 opportunities to hop in. Are guilt-free, and we're going to come in and throw a Honey Hunter special here. 3rd and 8. Would love to get this. Our speed here. We got a lot of speed. Franklin is speed. Mims is speed. I think Mims is slightly faster. And that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. We were very lucky that was not an interception. That was... If that was Jesse Bates, is that Jamal Adams? I think at this time, though, we got to go for it. 4th and 8. That's when you got brick hands like that. Now, I hate that they're squiggly lines. But I know Greg Dulcich is looking to get open on this one. Splits the trio back there in the secondary. And the Denver Broncos have tied this one up late in the 3rd. Oh, come on, defense. #1 defense in the NFL. Fucking prove it. 4th and inches, they go for it. We lose it, turnover on downs. Head of schedule. I mean, I don't want to say ahead of schedule. I feel like I would have been great winning the Super Bowl, but I just didn't get off offensively, man. Is Bo Nix the guy? I have doubts right now if Bo Nix is going to be the guy that can bring us a Super Bowl. For free agency, still have an absolute war chest, but I think it goes to say we made the Super Bowl with $80 million cap. What that says to me is keep that so we can keep the core together. We already have that got us here. And the reality is we don't really need much. Mike McGlinchey's successor on offensive line at tackle is a spot, but like that's where you draft someone. You don't really want to pay someone that money. In free agency, I'm great with the defense. Really good. No one's really regressing as of yet. Safety might be the next position where it's good. We could come full circle, bring back Justin Simmons, but there's not really that super young upgrade safety to our team right now. So I think we'll punt and draft well again. So the first round of the 2028 NFL Draft at pick 31. Done my homework. I think we got to go offensive tackle here. Mike McGlinchey is like the most replaceable player, I think, going forward. We got him back on a 1-year deal, but he's probably going to retire. We got Larry Trapp, who looks legit, 6'7", 323, we just don't know what he's going to be good at, which is kind of the downside. He's a first-round lineman, so you're likely going to get a 70-plus player, but not 100% sure there. When the, when you're trying to look at tackle, really anywhere on the line, but I think for tackle, I think in terms of realism, you could go with these freaks at tackle as well. 6'6", 343. They probably played tackle in college if you're trying to make it realistic. And we have Jalil Basley as B pass block, at worst B run block. Like, this guy looks really good. I wish the bench press was a little bit higher, but he did go third in the bench at his pro day. Or we have Jerry Reed, also just a gigantic human being. We just don't know what the rating is going to be. The trade-off is he's a slightly better athlete. But I would say for my money, I'm going to roll on Jalil Basley, and he is going to be our future right tackle. Let's go. Also, would you believe it? I scouted the safeties, and there is not one good safety prospect. Absolutely brutal. Like, Rashad Polk does at least have B-man coverage, but just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely hate my board right now, so we're going to trade out of the second round, get a second round next year, and pick up a fourth round this year, which is where I think we could pick up a couple nice values. There's just no value right here in the second. All right, so in the third round, I'm going to pick up a guy. Interesting traits here. Kirk Wise, A press, B zone. Don't know what the man coverage is, but the tested pretty nice. The vert jump stands out for sure. 4.46 ain't too slow. Let's go, man. We start now. I told you, we got some guys here, day 3. Actually, we're going to draft the only somewhat decent safety that I think is on the board. Rashard Polk, B-man. I think the rating might be all right. I like the size, 6'2", 220. Hey, look at our draft recap. We had a bunch of picks here. We got some value. We got Kendrick Levine, 72 wideout, playmaker at Alabama. I drafted a punter early. I thought he might be, I didn't think he was going to be generational, but I thought he might be a dev trait. We do need a punter, 71 there. Polk, not great. Wise, even though he has a dev trait, 69, so we got a long way to go. But I'll tell you what, getting a lineman here, and I don't know if his rating's going to shift a whole lot if and when. Let's do it right now, because it might go up. And if it goes up, we'll celebrate that, because this is not, my normal standard of draft. But he goes from 74 guard. Oof. Well, we got our developmental tackle. And I don't want to look at the rest of the division, because they probably all did better than us. Did they ever highlight it? Jamie Crompton, top 5 pick for the Chargers. Get themselves a 75 overall speed rusher. Oh, man, the Raiders draft was disgusting, too. 74, 72, 75, 72. Come on. Midway year 5, 5-2. Coming off a big win over the Saints. Sean Payton getting one over his old team. Bo Nix, 5-touchdown performance. I don't know if that's necessarily a sign that he's back to his MVP shortlist form. I would like to think so. He's played well this year. I'm going to keep our scouting focus at safety. I think we take another swing there. And let's just keep it here live. Week 8, can we topple the 6-1 Chiefs and make it interesting at the top of the standings? And we are able to do that, actually leapfrog them, but still technically tied at 6-2. For our contracts, again, we have been and handled our salary cap very well. I don't think we've mismanaged it at all. Looking at what's available here to our team, we got to make the right calls here. And I think it's probably time to move on at safety. Definitely for Brandon Jones. At 30, I'm a little scared. Caden Stearns looking for a 2-year. If we'll take that, so be it. If not, we can look elsewhere. But still, got to be down a safety going into next season. That's absolutely, still in line with where we focus scout this year in the draft, being at that safety spot. Perkins has been, a really solid linebacker, but I think you make the decision to pay one. You don't pay 2 off-ball linebackers, and we already went out and paid Drew Sanders, so I think that'd be a misuse of funds. Baron Browning is up to a superstar X factor. I think it's wise, considering he's also interested in returning, so we don't have to overpay. Give him a fair contract at his market value, and he wants to stick around. And lastly, it seems to be our go-to wide receiver this year, Evan Stewart. And I think this is a guy that we look to extend. We got 5 years left in the rebuild. So I think we give him a 5-year, $85 million. Wow. I could probably get it for about 87. We'll come back next week. We close out year 5 with the best kind of win. A Sim 38-24 ass kicking over the Kansas City Chiefs. We have Elliott, the man on the other side of Carruthers. 3 sacks. Former first-round pick. Love him. I think Carruthers is an X factor. He's going to make everyone else better around that defense. We finished a game back of the Raiders. 2nd place in the West. But I mean, where's the balance? How come it's just I either have a really good offense and at best a middle of the mall defense, or vice versa? Why can't I have both? Okay. But you look at how he made it happen. 5th in yards, 1st in touchdowns for Bo Nix. Holy, and Javonte crushed. I thought it was going to, all right, Javonte fell off. He's getting up there in age. No, he had a huge year. Bo Nix, 375 yards, a 4 touchdown. Where was this? Where has this been? Evan Stewart really emerged as our wide receiver 1, as our lone superstar player, 86 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 9-8 for Franklin, 9-9 for Mims, almost 7-9 for Dulcich, which is great for a tight end. Happy with those numbers. Defensively, Perkins and Sanders had big-time years. Carruthers with 14 sacks, 9 from Jonah Ellis. So I don't know if I broke it down that he is now a superstar X Factor. Hit that last season, and it kind of goes to the point where I really do feel like Carruthers is elevating everybody else on this defense. Interception numbers, Pat Surtain with 4 interceptions as well, even though overall the interception numbers a little bit down. I think that's partly on Drew Sanders, who feels like he's got 3 or 4 for the last couple seasons straight. But all in all, I mean, for a defense looking on paper pretty bad, I'm all right with those SIB numbers. I thought they're going to be a lot worse. So I know that our defense still has our big-time players producing like big-time players. Bo Nix somehow wins the freaking MVP. We need to spin that into a playoff run. We start the wild card round against the Miami Dolphins, and we're able to handle business, and we dump 35 points on them. Bo Nix, a 3-touchdown performance. Trying to make it back to a Super Bowl, the 14-3 Ravens stand in the way. They're very good. Top 5 offense, number 1 defense. So let's actually go in here. We'll upgrade our players. Just auto update. Ooh, we got a nice +2 here for Evan Stewart. Yes, sir. Bump that up. It's going to take him to a 92 overall. And I think the contract that we extended, maybe like while I was negotiating, I was like, this is pricey. But with the way that he played this year, I think we might have got a bargain when all is said and done. But I would like to see all these talents, all these breakout seasons. Let's at least get back to the Super Bowl. Fucking Lamar Jackson, man. Ravens are nowhere near the Chiefs. No one's nowhere near the Chiefs. But the Ravens are a super annoying team. We lose in overtime to an outstanding Lamar Jackson performance. Looking where the offense is at, Bo Nix back up to a superstar dev. Evan Stewart finishes the season as a superstar X Factor. The offense, everything's kind of shuffling around here on the O-line, but we have Mike McGlinchey leaving, and Basley is, that's why we drafted the first round, to be his successor. So looking at where we need to improve on the offense, I think we're all right. Maybe, in the draft there's a really good tight end. Maybe get a successor in place for Dulcich. But the rest of the O-line, I'm still good. No worries. Maybe the same can be said for running back, because it definitely is at that ceiling for Javonte Williams, like 92, superstar, that's as good as he's going to get. He's only going to start whittling away from this point forward. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Carruthers remains an X Factor. Jonah Ellis remains an X Factor. We do unfortunately lose the superstar on Drew Sanders. We lose the X Factor on Baron Browning, which is definitely a bummer. We lose the superstar on Ben Morrison, but at least, the ratings are there. I'm not too worried about it, and I would say looking at the defense, safety's a big-time need. That's where we set our focus scouting. We could also look at middle linebacker early. And looking for that safety, I think that's where I would spend. We have $39 million, so it's not a lot of money, but I would be interested potentially in a safety. Mukuba, 25.78 with a dev trait. Probably our best bet. It's not brutal. But then I also look at the first round where we did our scouting, and we have this guy, Racy Kidd. Great name, all B's, 6'2", 211. Combine is awesome. I mean, awesome. I love a couple more at least. But first in the 40-yard dash, pretty much everything you're looking for. 3-cone 20 could be a little bit better. All right, I decided to pivot. It's just, when in doubt, I feel like this safety's not going to be, at worst, like a point or two. Like, I feel like this guy's going to be 75 in that range. We also scouted the other just top safety just to be sure. We're so close, and he is a first, second round talent, but you can see that the letter grades aren't great, and if the letter grades aren't great, you better be a freak athlete for me to consider drafting. And he's just, the 3-cone 20-yard shuttle's better than our top target here, but this guy has a cooler name, better letter grades, in the same ballpark, and we got our dev trait. Let's go, Racy Kidd. That's the name of a guy that could be a little bit of a legend here in this rebuild. Love to see him get 9 picks a year. And we needed a linebacker, and I'll tell you right now, Jaquez Bailey in North Carolina had 8 pursuit, 8 tackle. And he had a chance at A zone coverage. It came out as a B. It was an AB, but I saw AB, AB, and the two A's. I was like, all right, what's the athletics saying? It's not the best. But I think we got a guy here that at worst, no depth trait because he's not an athletic freak, but I think the base rating is going to be real solid. And we need a new middle linebacker that can play alongside Drew Sanders, and we get the depth trait. Let's go. I will say, one of the schools, I don't know if, there's probably likely nothing in the Madden generator that has anything, but I find a lot of North Carolina guys have depth traits. I don't know how this guy fell into my lap. Dominic A, he probably has a shitty physical, I guess. A tackle, A finesse, B block shed. Total blind pick. Just looking here, we have 2 second rounders. All right, I'll pick that guy. If no one else wants to pick that guy, I'll pick that guy. All right, we're going to go blind picking now. That's pretty much all I got. We got Javonte Bassett, tight end. A run block, A catch in traffic. The combine, pretty decent. No depth trait. Dang. Panic picked a running back, and it looks good. Just, Javonte's getting older. All right, so looking at our draft recap, very happy with how it fell. Racy Kid, 75 hidden dev. Bailey, 74 hidden dev. Dominic Ayers, I still have no idea how this guy fell to me. 74 hidden dev. One of the best value picks. The best, I haven't felt that good about just, holy shit, how this guy's still there. And usually when you get that, it's like a wide receiver, a corner. It's never a guy on the D-line that can rush the passer. The panic pick at running back, 74, not bad. Get a 68, 68. There is something I got to check out, though, and that would have been 4th round, or maybe even the 5th round. There was a quarterback, UDFA quarterback that looked real nice. All right, he was nothing special. It would have been my 5th round pick. All right, I'm good. Undefeated come week 8 of our 6th season of this rebuild, which is an awesome spot to be. However, passing offense, come on, Bo Nix. Reigning MVP Bo Nix. It's going to be tough to get it with averaging only 200 yards passing a game, but at least everything else looks elite. Our salary cap's starting to get a little tighter. Like we've already talked about Dulcich. Elliott is nice. We literally just drafted his replacement in the 3rd round, though. We're not going to pay that amount for that long. Woodard's been solid at guard, but I really do think you got to pay the corner first, especially the one that's interested in re-signing with your team, so you don't got to overpay. You don't got to move the needle too much. We'll lock him up for 5 years. And look at Woodard, 83. I mean, his prime is going to be for the remainder of this rebuild. But the salary is getting very tight, and I think when all is there, salary's tight. Guards and running backs are the ones that I'm going to cut ties with. Tight ends as well. So let's save a couple bucks here, just so it's not panic time for the final 4 years of this rebuild. Close year 6 with a very impressive, our best record of the rebuild, 14-3, with just outside a top 10 offense, the #1 defense in the NFL, and the icing on the cake, we beat the Chiefs in the sim again. Now our backup running back, won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and our only other award, which you love to see, better late than never, PS2 getting DB of the Year. And MVP Bo Nix fell off a freaking cliff. 3,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, 4 picks. That ain't that odd at all. Got a great 1-2 punch in the backfield ever. Javonte's been ever consistent this whole rebuild. Marvin Mims has just been crapping out 1,000-yard seasons. Evan Stewart stepped back, which is a bummer. Totally a bummer, especially because he just got up to an X factor, which, I mean, I'll take the development. Let's leave him as a 96 overall, but it's almost a lock that he's going to be bumped back down to a superstar dev next season. Franklin was solid. Dulcich starting to show his age a little bit. On the defensive side, Sanders, 106 tackles, 9 TFLs, 5 sacks, 2 picks. What a weapon. Carruthers with 11.5 sacks, 9 from Elliott, 5 from Sanders, 4.5 from Ayers. What is the dev trade on this monster? Only a star. I thought there might have been a shot there that we got a superstar dev, but maybe just wishful thinking. 4 picks, PS2, 3 from Morrison, who we just paid a bag to. Interceptions back up after a down year last season. First round of the playoffs, very tough team. Can't just look at the record. Almost a 90 overall. We know they got Dox. We know they got Stroud. The rankings aren't that good. I know the talent's there. You know the talent's there. CJ Stroud, Stingley, etc., etc. We handle business 31-20 with a player of the week performance. Jonah Ellis, 4 sacks, giving CJ Stroud nightmares for the rest of the offseason. A team that's been an absolute pain in the ass, overachiever, whatever way you want to call it in this rebuild. The Vegas Raiders have been to 2 Super Bowls. They've won 1. They're hanging with us in the West every single year. It's an annoying opponent. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense. I'll show them respect. We'll how to upgrade our players. Hopefully we get a couple starters here. Jonah Ellis coming off a 4-sack performance for our superstar X Factor. Let's bump him up here. What a 3rd round pick. Hell of a job, Sean Payton, for picking that one and hitting a home run. out of the park. Don't lose. Let's get back. Let's get back to a Super Bowl here. And it's ugly. It's not pretty. 21-18. Evan Stewart, $127 and a tutty. PS2. Pick. Let's go. And we got Dak Prescott and the Cardinals waiting for us in the Super Bowl. So showing respect to the... I mean, they're 9-8. They give up 8 overall points to us. They don't... Their best thing is we're better than them at defense, but they still are the number 2 defense. This is probably going to be a low-scoring game. Whatever team protects the football best, probably going to win it. All right, it's a rainy-ass game. Of course, got to have imperfect conditions. But I like the team that can run the football better this matchup. And we got 2 monsters. We have Javonte, who's been league leader in touchdowns. We got the offensive rookie of the year, a 2-headed weapon in the backfield. And we get out of the first half, giving up only a field goal, putting up 17. As long as that exact same defense shows up, I think this is finally going to be our year, fellas. Unless we blow it here in the fourth quarter. Oh, yeah. Outstanding job. Number 1 defense trumps the number 2 defense. And in year 6, the Denver Broncos are Super Bowl champions. Led by Bo Nix and the offense. Defense suffocating. And the 1 seed in the AFC. No underdog story. No fairy tale ending. We were supposed to be here. We are the best team in the NFL. We were able to go in with that pressure. Luckily, it was Dak Prescott on the other side as well, which certainly helped our case. But we're able to go under pressure. Able to go with, Bo Nix is an older player. Even though he's only in year 5, he's old. He's probably close to his ceiling in terms of growth and development. Maybe we'll go up depth traits, but base overall rating, he's probably going to peak around a 90. And we're starting to get worried. Did we hit his ceiling? Not only from a growth and development standpoint, but how far he could take this Denver Broncos team. And we got a Super Bowl. And we got 4 more years to try to win 2 more and turn this into a dynasty. Give a quick look here. Who's getting MVP? Ooh. Interesting. Who's going to... I mean, you're not just going to give that to the quarterback here. Javonte had 93, but he did have a costly fumble. 3 touchdowns for the offensive rookie of the year, McIntyre. That's probably going to get him it on the defense. Hell yeah. Give it to the rookie. Give it to our RB2. But it's not all good news. As we close out as Super Bowl champions, we go into this offseason needing a left guard and a new starting tight end. Evan Stewart lost his X-Factor dev trait, which is a bummer. On the defensive side, we need a new defensive end. We're good there, though. We're going to take Ayers, that 3rd-round pick, and we're going to let him start. PS2 back up to an X-Factor. Morrison back up to a superstar. Our 1st-round pick kid, only a starter. However, Bailey, our 3rd-round pick linebacker, superstar dev, which makes up for Sanders, who lost his. So hopefully we get a roll at tight end and or guard to grab 1 in free agency, so we don't have to rely on both our picks in the draft. However, we did not get blessed with either of those roles. I think something else I'm going to start trying to include in just this section is who I decide to use my 3 focus guys, because these are like the guys that I feel could be something special. So we got tight end. I'm just going with the top tight end just because I don't have a clear picture, and we do need a tight end. But we also need a guard. And when I'm looking for a guard, really I will look at any of the offensive line positions because you can just kick them into guard. Didn't get a great role at left guard at face value. Maybe Gaines is all right. But at right guard, we have good knowledge on Norman and Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick for sure because it's where the range is. I don't really want to draft a guard in the 1st round. But look at this center. He's the first guy I'm checking out. Earl Edwards. You can easily just play guard. And there's a shot that he has 4 ace. So that is absolutely a player that you just want to get a little bit more clarity because if he has a chance of being special and unique, you'll want to take that one. And then for the tight ends, I think Richardson, he probably is going to be the best. He's the highest rated. Looks pretty decent. But I just kind of looking down here like who else could be all right, good value. So I don't have to go there in the 1st round. And then look at what is down here. Connor Colvin, 3rd, 4th round, AAB with a chance at B. If that route rank's even a C, that is probably the tight end that we want to end up getting. So those are going to be the 3 players we focus on. And I think based upon knowledge, maybe in a perfect world, we can get Edwards in the 1st round, and Colvin checks out as a really good tight end. But if Richardson, we do the homework, grades out as like, a legit round 1 tight end, maybe we look at trading up. With pick 32 in the 1st round, we're going to go with this spicy pick. For a center, you know what, guys, truth be told, the combine's not insane. The 3-cone 20-yard shuttle is not overly important for linemen, but it is good to know in terms of athleticism. Bench press ain't bad, but this is, I feel like, a time that you just trust the letter grades. I'm going to say superstar. I'm going to say he's going to be a superstar center. On the 2nd round, pivoting back to tight end, Sheldon Worthy is a vertical threat, has double B, And athletically speaking, pretty damn good. Elite jumping and agility, which I don't overly concerned. But let's go back to the guy we did homework on. Double A, the deep route running could have been a D. We rolled the higher end of what it potentially was. Double A, B, elite strength, which you got to be honest, elite strength. I'm a sucker for elite strength on tight ends. That's kind of like my. I don't really think there's a lot of tangible evidence that it always is a hit, but it probably is. I wish the acceleration is kind of dog shit. I don't know. We'll go with it. If not, I probably could. Ideally, maybe in the perfect world, I could have got him in the 3rd round, but we will take a hidden dev tight end every day of the week. Ooh, here we go. 3rd round, we get another dev trade line with just complete blind pick. There was nothing there. We're looking at our own. Chargers did all right. A couple 70s with their first 3 picks. Same with the Chiefs ending up with 3 players in these 70s, which I think that's kind of the threshold for a good draft. You get less than 3. We got 4 for the Raiders, who I'm trying to see why they remain competitive. They remain on top. They are drafting pretty damn well. But I'm very happy with what we did, man. The process worked. Earl Edwards, the 4 A's, 76 hidden dev center. We're going to, of course, slide him over to guard. And then Colvin. Could have got him in the 3rd round. 75 with the dev trade. Always, always, always trust your gut. And my gut says elite strength tight ends are absolute beasts. Now, Singer, he had a impact block. That's the only reason my board was shot. He got a dev trade roll, but only a 65, which is pretty bullshit. Week 8 of year number 7, and we are very much competitive, but it is a tight AFC West. Raiders sit on top. We are 4-2 with the Chargers. Chiefs still there, not going away with 3 wins. Offensively, we don't really have an identity, but we're almost top 5. Defensively, pretty damn good. Well, this is going to be a tough one. We got our first tough one. $89 million of cap, which is a lot. But we got a very expensive guard. Safety's gone. Running back. Like, who are we paying here is kind of my question. I'll say that Drummond there's value there on Drummond. So we'll get him locked up for the remainder of the deal. 4 years, $16 million. There we go. We got our bargain out of the way. Can't let Surtain go. He is absolutely immense to what we're trying to accomplish here. We'll give him a 3-year deal, see if we can get him right up till he retires. We have Ventura at center. Pretty good. I like my ability to draft centers. But I think that's not a brutal contract. We have our nose tackle Weaver. Doug is the ugly things, but do we pay? You know, now we gotta make the right call here. And you got Tyler Smith, who's like one of the highest rated tackles. Let's see if he'll take that 4-year. He does. So now I would say now that we got Tyler Smith signed on, you know, you gonna pay a nose tackle, you gotta try to draft one. You probably gotta draft one. You gonna pay a running back, or the fact that we got the rookie of the year and Super Bowl MVP behind him. We'll make sure we look at his stats and pay respect for what he accomplished, but it's probably time to move on at running back. So you don't pay safeties. Miners is probably the only one where it's like, I'm probably not going to spend this money elsewhere. So let's see if we can get him back on 1 year, which we do. Out of year 7, we go 14-3, but we're not. Who the hell beat us for the 1 seed? Bengals? Bills, 15-2. Okay. Damn. Josh Allen. Peak Josh Allen is what we got to deal with. We're good. 1 offense, top 5 defense. Very happy with how everyone played. I'm going to say right now, the only thing I'm going to imagine is annoying is the fact that we're moving on from Javonte because I bet he had an insane season. We didn't end up having a single award winner, which may be a little worried, but the stats ain't bad. Bo Nix, 34 touchdowns, 5 picks. The 1-2 punch here in the backfield, and I think Javonte is ready to hand over the reins to this backfield to Steven McIntyre. Evan Stewart goes over 1,000 yards. Mims is solid. Franklin with double-digit touchdowns. The rookie tight end, 8 touchdowns, 500 yards, which is pretty good, but look at the dev trait. Let's go. Superstar dev tight end. Now, you know, that wasn't as much of a lamp as the lineman, but, you know, we still felt we had to, you know, do our homework there a little bit. Looking at our linemen as well. Earl Edwards did give up 5 sacks, but also superstar dev. 4 A's. That's what you're looking for, man. Defensively, Drew Sanders, great season. Bailey, tackle machine. Sacks, a little bit off the mark, but 8 from Ellis, 9.5 from Carruthers. Happy with that at the end of the day. 3 picks across the board for our usual suspects here. But now we got to go on a run, and apparently there's a big dog up in Buffalo that stands in our way of repeating as Super Bowl champions. First round of the playoffs, we got the 10-7 Miami Dolphins, who aren't bad at all. Pretty much on the mark of a top 10 offense. Number 7 defense in the league, but a massive 7-point overall difference between our two teams. It's close, 31-28. Our journey to repeat continues. Our middle linebacker, Bailey, coming in on a couple blitzes there, getting Defensive Player of the Week. Division round, we got the Bengals, who are a little bit better. Jamar Chase still crushing it at an old age. Top 10 passing offense, but you look at the other rankings, I think what the Bengals are bad at is what is going to be the difference maker here. But you never know. Joe Burrow could just go insane, crazy mode. It's ugly. 17-12 ugly. You know what? We'll take that one. We'll bury it. And we got a very good Houston team standing in our way of another Super Bowl appearance. I need to take a look at this. I think we got to give respect where respect is due. The fact Houston's been here. Like, what are they building down there? Because clearly the Bills didn't get past them. So you got Stingley 99. Stroud, 99. All right, Dameon Pierce is still good. He's up there in age. Nico Collins, 96 X Factor. God damn. Got a beast at tight end. Their O-line is pretty much S tier across the line. Will Anderson's a 99. Is there Johnny Newton's killing it. They got a guy named Justice. The goddamn Avenger out there at outside linebacker. Patrick Queen, 92 superstar. Oof. Okay. Not a lot of weaknesses there. There's a very complete team. And I feel like we're absolutely in a spot where it's clearly the two best teams in the end. But we're 95s across the board. I don't think there's anyone. I think this is like one of those destiny years where we just got to understand that this is our window. We handle business. And we get back to the Super Bowl against a team that beat us in the Super Bowl way back. Our first appearance in year 4. We got the Atlanta Falcons. Ooh, you know how I love winning the Super Bowl in Jerry World. And it's time to avenge. Not many opportunities within a rebuild. You get an opportunity to avenge a Super Bowl loss this far apart. I get if you're kind of like both in your dynasty mode where you're both absolutely crushing it, but this far apart to, history repeat itself. I love the fact that they missed the extra point, so we're not going into halftime tied. Second half, Denver goes down the field. We get a turnover, 2 quick scores, but Atlanta gets a very quick score. And on 3rd and 8, we're able. I don't think we're gonna blow this one. 35-20. And the fact that we're 95s across the board, 42-20. You can probably go, look, I don't know if we've had a higher overall team. This might be in terms of season, the single best team we have built out of, I don't know how many rebuilds we've done now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This would be 8. I don't think we've ever been 95s across the board. So I'm glad, while we're at the best, to reward the work that we have been able to put in here. We get the Super Bowl. We go 14-3. But I got the 1 seed. Didn't matter. Didn't even get to see who really was the best. I would have been cool to see the Bills, at least in the championship game. But they couldn't make it. Not everybody can go on deep playoff runs. Sorry, Bills fans. But it is time for the 2nd straight Super Bowl. Bo Nix. We got 3 years left, 8, 9, and 10 to get one more to officially call this thing a dynasty. Hell fucking yeah. Pardon my French. MVP. Probably just give it to Bo Nix. So as we go into the offseason, we've got to start by honoring Javonte Williams, who has been maybe our most consistent skill position player this whole rebuild. He finishes his career with the Broncos with just under 12,000 rushing yards, 96 tuds. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's another year where we're going to free agency, and if there's not someone that's an absolute slam dunk at their position, I think we've just been drafting well enough. So we do need to look at safety. This guy's not bad. Kari Ferguson looking for $5 million a year. Be the one guy I think might be worth it. Just I haven't had the best luck, obviously, finding our safeties. We got one, but even then, it was tough to like sift through the weeds. A lot of garbage, a lot of tough people that could give you fool's gold at the position. So we'll get Ferguson there at safety, and he'll be a starter for us next year. So going into the first round, as your defending Super Bowl champion, we scouted a couple D linemen here. We got James Overstreet, 6'6", 290, a tackle, a block shed. But if you're not giving me something I can go off of with the finesse and power move, probably gonna avoid you. We got a couple nice nose tackles though. That is the big spot. We need to try to find a dog. And there's a couple in this class. One is Floyd Hickman, A tackle, double C's, B block shed, and he put up elite strength. So that's probably going to be 97, 98 strength. Or we have Elijah Harris out of Michigan, who has a track record of putting nose tackles in the NFL. However, the letter grades aren't as good. Also has the elite bench. I think we just go with the safer pick, the guy that's almost locked to be a day one starter, Floyd Hickman. Let's go, dev trade. We have the luxury, there's not a lot of these. I'm going to take another swing at the other one. Why not just let's get both of them? One of them has a superstar dev, no harm on the other. Take 2 swings at it. So outside the division, not much going on outside of the Chiefs having a down year. And of course they have a down year and get, I'm just taking a peek here. Of course they have a down year and probably get a generational running back. That's what they need, huh? Unbelievable. Looking at our class, doubling up the nose tackle worked out well. 273 hidden devs. I only need one of them to be better than a star dev, which is kind of want to take the 2 swings. We got a 71 wide receiver in the 4th round. A little bit of a value pick, hidden dev out of Virginia Tech. It's a good draft class, but goddamn, come on, Chiefs. What, really? We don't need to be helping them out game. And at year 8, midway point, 5-2, sitting atop the AFC West with a 1-point lead over the LA Chargers. We have the number 1 offense, a top 10 defense, which is the standard that has been set with this squad. Obviously, coming off of 2 straight Super Bowls. $100 million. How do we want to spend it? You know what? All things considered, starting with like the absurd record-breaking dead cap hit that we took with Russell Wilson at the start of the rebuild. Pretty good management of salary cap. I'm not necessarily just saying that to like pat myself on the back, but we crushed it. But let's see, we got Carruthers, 99 X Factor, pretty much going to pay him what he wants. We got 2 years left of the rebuild. That's what we need for Bo Nix. Kind of got to keep him in the building. Kinda. Of course, he's gotta make us pay a pretty price here. I mean, Troy Franklin is interested, so we'll re-sign him. I was kind of just thinking before I even started the season, can I go this whole rebuild with like Mims, Franklin, and Evan Stewart like as my wide receivers? I think this might be the end of Marvin Mims, if I'm going to be honest with you. So at the end of the year, we will take a look at the stats because he's definitely, with the production he's put up in this rebuild, probably getting close to top 5 all time for Bronco receiving records. But we also are definitely going to come back and probably have to give $1 million or $2 more to get Bo Nix's contract over the line. At year 8, we go 12-5. It is our 3rd straight AFC West championship. We finished with the number 1 offense and the number 6 defense in the nation. Bo Nix had a solid season, finishing in the MVP shortlist. However, now he's officially won an MVP. You kind of want him to, win it again. He finished 5th in yards, just outside the top 10 as far as touchdowns are concerned. And if you're going to have one of these years where you go under 30 touchdowns, you better have something like that where it's only 2 picks and you feel pretty good about it. Also threw in another 4 rushing touchdowns, 300 yards, 11 and 13 for McIntyre, stepping up as our new RB1. And because we get so many backup, our second running back vultures so much, Marion Sawyer, our RB2, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, which is pretty badass. We also got Offensive Line of the Year, Manny Ventura, our starting center, so that could be a potential superstar dev trade coming his way. Jonah Ellis wins Linebacker of the Year. And Ventura had one of those crazy seasons where he just didn't allow a sack, so a rightful Lineman of the Year. And on the defense side, Drew Sanders, awesome, man. He's probably the best linebacker we've had so far in any of the 10-year rebuilds. In terms of production, if you want production at the linebacker spot, use this Denver Broncos defense playbook. 141 tackles, 9 TFLs, 4 sacks. Usually, he's getting 3 to 4 picks a season, which is insane. Jonah Ellis, 12 TFLs, 13.5 sacks. Linebacker of the Year, 12.5 from Carruthers, 6.5 for Ayers. A couple 4 bombs down there as well. 3 picks, Racy Kid. 3 picks from Drummond, PS2, only with 1. And I looked at the stats, just kind of, I don't know why, but that is his 30th interception of his career. So we are now in dynasty mode. Year 8, right now, year 9, and year 10 coming up have a chance to get that 3rd and illustrious Super Bowl win that we look to try to achieve in a 10-year period of time. Stamp a dynasty on the video. And it starts against Vegas, who went out and got Patrick Mahomes. But it still needs to be reiterated that this is, I mean, maybe it's just recency bias, which absolutely could be. But when you see 96 offense, 95 defense, 95, I don't think we've had a stronger team in any of our rebuilds. So we handle business against the Raiders 31-13. We are going to be weaker probably next year. I don't think we're going to be, we're going to lose Marvin Mims. We're going to lose Quinn Meinerz is probably going to retire. That's an 88 guard. Baron Browning is also on that cusp of potentially retiring. So those are 3 starters that we just can't. We're at that point now where we just have to pick and choose. We haven't really been in that spot or position yet, which is, been an absolute privilege that we've gone 8 years of this rebuild and haven't had to be like, I can't afford to bring that guy back. We've been able to pretty much keep everybody. This is now where the wheels are slowly starting to fall off. So I'm just trying to reiterate that we got a window here. And this won't be the end of our window. It's just, this is the easiest it's going to be. And we got a team that has kind of been a thorn in our ass right now. Baltimore has handled us a couple times here in the playoffs. They bounced us a couple times here in the playoffs. And we're able to handle them 21-14. And the Broncos are in their 3rd straight AFC championship game. And this time it's against the LA Chargers, a divisional rivalry. We get to settle who the best team of this is in the division. And full kudos to them. It is very rare when you see a sim-built team that ends up having a 90-plus in anything. And these Chargers have a 91 offense. You got 99 X-Factor in Herbert. Isaiah Davis is an 88. Alani Boone is an 98 superstar. You got Quentin Johnson still there. You got Jatavian Sanders, who's developed into a 92 superstar. Slater, 97. O-line, you got a 91 guard in there. 95 J.C. Latham at right tackle. Yep. Pretty good offense. I'll give them that. And I will say that is, I'll show them the ultimate respect, which is me cashing in all the upgrades that I can. We get one for Morrison, brings him up to a 98. We get one for McIntyre, our starting running back. Damn good team. I hate that that's in the division because they're not going to regress. They're going to be that good probably for the remainder of the rebuild. But look at that. Bo Nix, 4 touchdowns. Drew Sanders, 2 sacks and a forced fumble. And it's 3 straight Super Bowls for the Denver Broncos. I don't want to say that we got to, we can't just go off of the record. 89s across the board for Detroit is very, very good. A-plus tier when I'm looking at a team that's being built. But they are still a team that was 1 win above 500. They are still a team that doesn't really have anything that scares you. Their individual defensive stats is pretty good, but overall, they give up almost 22 points a game. Their offense only scores 21. We have the number 1 offense. We have the better offense. We have the better defense. I think we achieved dynasty status right here, folks. And going to the Super Bowl, they're milking the underdog story. 3 straight for Denver. They know we're doing a dynasty. You got Detroit, never won a Super Bowl. The Cinderella team, 1 win above 500. But this is where, fairy tales are stories for a reason. They don't happen in real life. We got to handle business. We got to make sure we get out of this one. And it's been all Detroit to kind of close out the first half. Luckily, though, we're able to persevere, get a touchdown, get a little bit of a lead, but we're not pulling away. Kind of letting them hang out. And into the 4th, Detroit has a 1-point lead. We're able to put together an outstanding drive to go up 7. Defense gets a quick stop. Kill them off. Let's go. Dynasty status achieved. 4-0 playoff run. 3rd straight Super Bowl win. And truth be told, we don't need to gloat this one. We don't need it. We got the dynasty. We don't need to gloat because we still got probably 2 more we're going to try to do. The fact of the matter is that even with the losses I wrote down, Baron Browning, Marvin Mims, Quinn Meinerz, we're not going to be that bad. We're not going to regress bad enough that I don't think we're going to be anything but Super Bowl favorites. McIntyre might have a shot at his 2nd Super Bowl MVP with the hat trick and touchdowns there. Kind of looking at who else could have got it. Drew Sanders, 2 TFLs and a sack. But I think you're going to give it to the running back, man. He just only plays big time in the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl player right there. Just because it's an end of an era, Marvin Mims finishes his career with the Broncos. 574 receptions, 8,600 yards, 64 touchdowns. And on the defensive side of the ball, Baron Browning finishes with 590 tackles, 80 TFLs, 3 picks, and 55.5 sacks. As we close the season, dev trait-wise, everything kind of maintains the status quo on offense. I mean, no one really, I don't think, I was anticipating any dev trait increases. However, on the defense side, we did lose the X factor on Carruthers, which kind of stinks. Both of our nose tackles from the draft were star dev. Kidd makes the jump from star up to superstar. Drummond makes the jump from star up to superstar. So a couple wins, even though we do lose slightly some of the mystique to the X Factor generational player that was Carruthers, but I mean, he's a 99 superstar. He ain't got much left to prove. Relatively broke as shit with only $25 million, so we are unfortunately going to have to sit out what looks like a pretty good free agency, to be honest with you. Maybe we can get like a cheap guard. Now that I think about it, let me just skim over. We're at that point in time, and I'll tell you this. If you play long enough in your franchise mode, you could sometimes find like dev trait guards that have 26, 27, somewhere in that range. Maybe even we can get a tackle here that you can get for like $4 to $5 million a year. Like, look at this guy, David Turner. $3 million for a 27-77 star dev player. That's kind of what I'm looking for. This guy will sign it for 2 years. It's under a $4 million cap it. I'm going to slide him into guard. And it's going to be as good as any guard I would draft. Oh, it's been a minute since that happened. Pick 32 in the 2032 NFL draft. And Cedric Bishop, the pass rusher. I need to find a Baron Browning replacement. Edge rusher is kind of my top need, but it's going to be tough because that was the defensive end that I wanted. Both my DNs are off the board. So now we need to pivot. Damn. So I would say our next need right now, looking at contracts, we are going to be light at linebacker coming up. I did fully scout Tuck, double A, double B, athletically speaking. Does show elite acceleration and speed, even though it's only 4.61. We also have Bryce Gaines, who looks like he's going to be pretty good. A zone coverage, B tackle. Same kind of deal, though. Like, get elite traits, but that's compared against edge rushers. We have Jelani Monk. I think the value is probably waiting at linebacker and see if we can get, because like this guy here, look at that 4.47. Looks just as good as well. That's third, fourth round. I just don't really have anywhere else to pivot. Wide receiver, we're looking for a Marvin Mims replacement. I mean, is this Sullivan guy got burners? A deep route running, is he 4.2? He's only 4.4. 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle look good, though. Any other deep threat that can make me? What do you got, McCoy? You got B's, some C's, 4.35. You know, I think we'll go. I mean, now in my board gut, I thought one of those edge rushers was still going to be there. So I'm struggling here. We'll go Sullivan just because, fuck. I think the value at running at linebacker is going to be, it's a shambolic draft, man. I think the value at linebacker is going to be in the next round. Brutal. And look at the linebackers. Tuck is gone. So I guess we kind of got to go with Gaines here. I mean, he also looks pretty good. I am a little worried, though, that athletically speaking, we might not roll a depth chart. The 3-cone 20-yard shuttle looks good. But, I mean, the letter grades, you know me. I'm a sucker for A-zone coverage. He is undersized, severely undersized at 5'11". But hey, here we go. We'll roll a depth chart. 89 acceleration, 86 speed, 91 agility. And the reason why we do that, again, is both of our starting linebackers are set to be free agents. Bailey and Drew Sanders. Probably can't pay both. I'm probably going to show the loyalty to Sanders if I have to pick and choose. So this gives us a little bit of cover there. Now in the third round. I mean, I feel like the whole thing is going to be that first round wide receivers rating. You know, is it the rating at least saving it and we don't have to really worry about a depth trade? So outside of that, so we got cover at linebacker. Running McIntyre, I mean, he's been Mr. Super Bowl here. Offensive tackle, kind of waited a little bit for that. Again, I'd like to think we can get a cheap one. So we need running back. That might be it if we don't want to be paying running backs. Because I just don't think we're going to be able to get a lineman here in the third. I mean, maybe there's a big guard that we can kick out to lineman. Let's double check that. If not, we'll see if we can pick around and find a nice-looking running back. Because this is still a sweet spot that you can find value at running back. Clyde Vernon could be all right, but that's obviously not a guy that can play tackle. Damn. All right, tackle market's not looking good. What do we got at running back? Double B's on Chapman. Combine, not bad. We got A carry on J.D. Williams. Not bad. Dwight Mims, A carrying, B ball carrier vision. Also not bad. I mean, what else we have? We got A trucking, B ball carrier vision. What do you got for trucking? B trucking, B ball carrier vision. What do you got? You got anything cool? A trucking, B spin. Wow. Guess this guy. Oh, let's go. Sneaky dev. I'll take that, man. I'll take that, especially after the first round pick. Pop it as normal dev. I mean, Bo Nix to get up there in age a little bit. We got Dexter Wheeler, 6'5", 245 at UAB. We got some Bs across the board here. He has elite throw power. Sign me up. Ooh, sneaky hidden dev wide receiver here in the 5th round. And I bet you could tell by looking at the front end of his ratings, well, he didn't have the speed that we wanted. He had elite acceleration, elite agility, and luckily we're not for a roll with a dev. I don't think his rating's going to be that good, though. He might be one of those, like, 67 hidden devs, but hey, it's depth. Yeah, we'll show love. We need punter and a kicker. We got Jake Walton here. A awareness, A kick accuracy, decent power, which is not the perfect roll, but he still should be, 70-plus punter, I would guess. And for Mr. Irrelevant, we're going kicker. A awareness, A kick accuracy, solid kick power. Should be at least a 70-plus. Now looking around the NFL, looking around the division. Tuck was a linebacker we were considering, and annoying that he is staying within our division. 76 with a hidden dev, going to the Chargers. Dang, it's been a minute. We got 3 70s go to the Chiefs, who are definitely going through a down spell. No more Patrick Mahomes, but they have drafted pretty well the last couple drafts. A look at the Raiders, a couple 70s as well. But I'll tell you right now, fellas, the Denver Broncos very much win the draft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it's padded by 2 special teamers, but 6 out of our 7, and the quarterback's the only guy. Our 70-plus. 73 hidden dev in the 5th round for Winslow is outstanding. 75, which, these guys do exist. We've had, I would say a trend over our last couple 10-year rebuilds. We've been able to find these like mid-round hidden dev running backs that are always around 74, 75, 76. Don't always have a dev trait. So happy for Mims there. Gains at linebacker, 72. Maybe a little on the low end. However, I wonder if we kick him inside to middle linebacker, if that might bump that up to 73, 74. Let's take a little peek. Come on. Oh, there's a 73. We'll take any points if we can get it. And Sullivan, wasn't the best start in the first round with a wet fart of a normal dev, but 75 is probably the minimum rating that I don't think this is an absolute bust of a pick. So year 9, there comes a time where you start to get a little worried, and it's not uncommon to be, a win or 2 above 500 at the midway point, and then we kind of close with the year strong. But there's also, I don't want to say it's an elephant in a room quite yet, but you got to remember that Bo Nix is an old rookie. So he's 31. We're right at the regression point, and there does seem to be a trend that when your quarterback starts slowing down, you really feel it in the sim. And we started seeing that a little bit last year, under 30 passing touchdowns. So there is a little bit of like, if he, is he going to be able to play at a level that we can go get at 4 Super Bowl, year 9 or year 10? Or are we going to have some struggles? And at 4 and 3, you look at our rankings. How are we 4 and 3? How are we playing? Passing offense, not great. Kind of getting carried by the running back a little bit. And looking at our salary cap, I am glad that we handled, the draft the way that we did. We got to pick and choose. We got our successor at running back for what that's worth. We always kind of knew we were screwed at tackle. Ayers at D-line, he just hasn't really made a whole lot of plays. And I think if we're going to show any bias to any player, I think it needs to be re-signing Drew Sanders. 3-year, 66. And that's about it. That's all we can. Best of luck to everyone else. The good news is we got our 4th straight AFC West championship. The bad news is our passing offense was worst in the league. Luckily, our defense was elite, led by Junior Carruthers. Don't tell him he lost his X Factor. He wins D Lineman of the Year. And Racy Kidd, one of the best names we've drafted in a minute, gets DB of the Year. Sanders continues to justify why we pay him, why we picked him. Just still playing at an elite level. We got 21.5 sacks on 18 TFLs for Carruthers. 8.5 for Jonah Ellis. 7.5 for Ayers. 3 picks for Racy Kid. 5 TFLs. 91 tackles. I don't even want to show the offense. I mean, shout out Evan Stewart for going for 1,000. Troy Franklin was solid. Colvin, the superstar tight end, solid. Football, as far as running it, not bad with McIntyre, even though he's about to cash out. And we're going to have to go with Dwight Mims as our running back of the future. Got a couple points here to spend. At least he's a scheme fit. And he's going to be at least a 78 starting. So I don't think there's going to be a gigantic drop-off year 10. But it's going to be tough to... Hey, superstar, let's go! But it's going to be tough to replace the man that has absolutely dominated the playoffs. An underrated character in this rebuild for sure. But man, oh man. Bo Nix, 3,400 yards, 18 touchdowns. At least he didn't turn the ball over. But when you look at it, big picture, 31st in yards, 31st in touchdowns. Brutal. We just paid him a 3-year, $100 million contract. So I don't want to say my expectations are not for this playoff run. But, you know, we're still 93s across the board. We're still led by an elite defense. If a defense wins championships. And one and done as we lose 28-25. Yuck! All right, so looking at our offense at the end of the season, somehow did you not lose a dev trade? You were awful. Look at the regression. Must be paying off the EA devs to not lose a dev trade. So McIntyre's going to leave, but Mims should be able to step up here, like kind of just projecting what we're going to do. We lost the dev trade on Stewart, which kind of sucks. We at least keep it on the tight end there. I mean, we can explore restructuring contracts to keep Basley. It's going to be tough to replace an 86 right tackle. Consider it. And on the defensive side, so Ayers is set to be a free agent. I'm just viewing this from a restructure standpoint. As we got Carruthers back up to an X factor, Sertan's an X factor, Sanders an X factor. Bailey's a free agent, but Gaines, the second-round pick, is a superstar. So, I mean, maybe in a perfect world, if we can restructure a bunch of guys, you know, maybe we have fun with it here a little bit, especially because our offense is so bad. Oh, special kid. Racy Kid's an X factor. Let's see what we can do in terms of restructures. Got $8 million on Bo Nix. $6 million on Tyler Smith, the left tackle. Over $12 million from Carruthers. $5 million on Drew Sanders. The two we got to prioritize is Basley and the D-line, just because we don't have adequate replacements in there. So we got Basley, we don't have to worry about right tackle. We now have Ayers on the D-line, which I'd really like to keep him here. Get him on a 3-year. So we have 19 remaining. Ooh. All right, guess we go with the linebacker. Appreciate you, McIntyre, for everything you've done, dog. But can't pay running backs. And I don't want to say he's our Terrell Davis, but Terrell Davis is known for not having a super long career and dominating in the playoffs and Super Bowl. Kind of similar to McIntyre. His best games came in the Super Bowl. Appreciate it. 3,500 yards, 55 tuds. And with our final first-round pick of the rebuild, couple spots we could go. One would be if there's like a sick wide receiver. I didn't see anyone that was like 100%, let's just trade a bunch of future picks to come up and get. Because I probably would have done that, along with the restructuring. Just to chase, you know? So there's nothing that's screaming like this is the wide receiver we need. I mean, this guy does look pretty cool. 6'7", Cordell Kelly. A catching traffic. Has ridiculous jumping. Maybe we can revisit that in the second round. Just for fun. Just to see what that looks like. But in reality, we need an edge rusher. We need someone that, like, as it stands right now, when I auto-set my depth chart, they're putting 300-pound Carruthers at outside linebacker, which I get you could do crazy things. But ideally, that's not going to be the case. And we do have a couple, you know, D-tackle. We could do that. And just have, like, an absurd... Because, I mean, this guy, Pierce, looks pretty good. And you're not usually going to find a pass rusher at pick 22 in the first round. They're usually long gone. And, look, we got two guys here. Matthew Lawton might be the best just because we got B-tackle. What do we see? Do we have his power move? A power move. Finesse. What's the physicals? It's not good. I think, fellas, we're about to go into this year with a 300-pound Defensive end. I'm going to run low. Let's just look at Dickens here real quick. 6'4", 314, A tackle, B power move. Great speed, 494, bench press 37. That's a tough one. B power, B awareness, B finesse, B tackle. Oh, this guy. Let's go. That was stressful. And because it's the last year, I pretty much traded my entire draft to move up in the second round with the first pick of the second round so we can go grab that 6'7" wide receiver just because why not? Let's have a little bit of fun with it. This guy looks like he could be pretty good too. Could be something. Could be something that we want. Cordell Kelly. At an A&M, A, catching traffic, B, deep route running, and at 6'7", he ran a 4.56. So kind of similar to Johnny Wilson, wide receiver the Eagles just dropped by. I love the fact that he has, at 6'7", a 41-inch vertical. That is absolutely ridiculous. Usually you get a dev trait there. Damn. So look at our draft recap. Kelly, 71. And if we're truly going to commit with just having a 300-pound defensive end, which I think we are. We're going to move Ben Dickens from 74. He's probably going to go down to 72. Only 73. Not bad. So this is it. Year 10 for the Denver Broncos, who have achieved a dynasty. We have won 5 AFC West championships. We've won 3 Super Bowls. Well, we're coming off very suspect here. A year that doesn't inspire great confidence, but we're still hanging in. We got Nix, Evan Stewart, Troy Franklin, the Oregon Duck trio hanging in there, trying to make one more last go of it. We got a new superstar running back. We got Tyler Smith. We have Edwards and Ventura, 2 players that we drafted. One was a superstar at the gate. Ventura won lineman of the year. To get that superstar, Turner Basley. We drafted our superstar tight end, who's an absolute beast. And I would actually love to see him maybe step up to see if he can come and elevate our passing offense numbers. Now, defense is where we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Our front 3 is solid. Dickens, first-round pick. Hickman was up there. Ayers was up there. But we're going to go with Ellis, third-round pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. Has been absolutely incredible. Sanders has been incredible. Bailey's been awesome. We're 3 deep at linebacker. And, yep, we're going with a 302-pound edge rusher. Stand up, outside. We're going to make him a team captain, coming off 21.5 sacks. I believe. We got Racy Kid, 92 X Factor. Ferguson's been nice. Pat Surtain, love the fact he's making the full 10 years of the rebuild. And has been an X Factor for the most part. Ben Morrison, part of our second draft class, 99. Lockdown corner. Drummond, 89 superstar corner. We have drafted incredibly well. We have developed incredibly well. This is going down as so far of our 10-year rebuild. Our most overpowered team. We just got to find a way to potentially overcome Bo Nix's passing deficiencies here in year 10 to get that 4th Super Bowl. Because this team's sure as shit good enough. And we close this thing out with our 6th AFC West championship. 13-4, 1 seed. We did lose to Dallas week 18, which sucks. Hopefully we don't see them in the playoffs. Our passing offense is still not amazing. It's not, it's better. It's not last, which it pretty much was last year. And our defense is back to 1. And our team is 95s across the board. Now, we unfortunately didn't have any award winners this year, but you know what? I was completely dogging our quarterback. The yards aren't great, but 34 touchdowns, 4 picks. That's a hell of a way to bounce back and respond, Bo Nix. I appreciate that. Dwight Mims, the superstar running back, stepping up in his first year as a starter, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns. A little lower than what I've been expecting. Really across the board, but at the end of the day, not brutal. We got just over 1,000 yards. Still counts for Evan Stewart, 9 touches, 9 and 8 for Winslow, the slot wide receiver. Franklin was 7 and 3, 6 and 7 for the superstar tight end. On the defensive side, Bailey steps up for Sanders for the tackle, even though Sanders had more TFLs. We got 10 sacks from Ellis, 7.5 from, so the experiment of putting a 302-pound stand-up edge rusher didn't really work out too much, but that's the final year of the rebuild. You got to do what you got to do. Interception numbers, however, have been very good until this season. Not great. Before we go on a run, let's look at the career stats. What we've been able to achieve and accomplish here in the 10-year rebuild. We got 38,000 yards passing, 291 touchdowns to 54 picks for Bo Nix, who's got an NFL MVP, who's got a Super Bowl MVP, who's got 3 Super Bowls under his belt. So, you know, I absolutely get open discussion. Is he on a Hall of Fame pace? I would say so. He also throws in 3,000 yards rushing and another 24 tuds. On the receiving standpoint, Evan Stewart, 645 catches, 9,000 yards, 63 touchdowns for kind of our go-to. Troy Franklin has been there since the beginning, 8,100 yards, 49 touchdowns, ain't bad. Colvin just really hasn't been here that long, but you know, just averaging just under 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns a season. Not brutal. On the defensive side, we got 1,100, almost 1,200 tackles for Drew Sanders, 77 TFLs, 22.5 sacks. Pat Surtain, 938 tackles with 30 interceptions. We have on the sack front 89.5 sacks in 6 seasons for the X Factor Carruthers, who's been an absolute monster. Jonah Ellis could be the star of the show on the defense side of the ball. I do think it's between him and Drew Sanders. 135 TFLs, 79.5 sacks. Not bad for a third-round pick. Sanders also had 22 picks, 16 for Ben Morrison, and 30 for Pat Surtain. So really, really happy with pretty much all these numbers. Everyone, you know, Bo Nix, maybe a couple bad years in there, but he also got an MVP at some point. He's also been the leader of this team to take us to all those Super Bowls, to all these divisional titles. Does he have enough in the tank for one more run? And it starts against Joe Burrow and the Indianapolis Colts, which when you break down the tail of the tape, pretty good. Top 10 offense. They have a top 5 rushing defense, which we have definitely transitioned more to a rush-heavy offense. But we're able to squeak by 24-21. And the Broncos, who are now even better. We are 96s across the board. We'll even give them a little bit more here. We'll upgrade 3 freaking starters right here. We got another AFC Championship game appearance, and standing between us and glory is an X-Factor quarterback. Pittsburgh has found themselves a stud. Max McCants, 43 touchdowns. Good freaking God. Come on. Come on! Yes! 33-20. Beautiful. Bo Nix says, I see your X-Factor dominant quarterback, and I'm going to modestly beat him. 230 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Drew Sanders with a defensive player of the week. You know what? I'm going to give Drew Sanders the face of this rebuild on the defensive side of the ball. But our 96 across the board has a chance to finish with a 4th and final Super Bowl here against the below 500 Arizona Cardinals. How in the hell? These guys, okay, they got a 99 X-Factor quarterback, Jonathan Brooks in the backfield. 3 deep at wide receiver, have a good tight end, Kelvin Banks, 90-plus linemen. So really across the board, good offensive line. They got James Pierce Jr., 99 X-Factor at pass rush. 95 superstar D tackle. Dallas Turner, 97 edge rusher. Got Patrick Queen. All right, starting to see why these guys are pretty good. Like, even they're not elite positions, there's guys in the 80s. So they are a team that is a lot better than their record shows. All right, got some work to do. This is a team, this is a franchise that has lived in the Super Bowl. This is our 5th Super Bowl appearance in 10 years. Looking to make it 4 wins. Come on, man. We're 96 overall. These guys didn't even finish above 500. No wet farts. Our defense needs to continue. Shut them down and play elite, but it looks like we're going to go into halftime tied at 7. Couple turnovers, both teams there. Everything to play for. First score of the second half goes to the good guys. Arizona's not going away. We have 3 cash-in attempts. We're going to cash in 1 right here, and we're going to go double post. We're going to try to quickly get this one off. I want to look at my superstar tight end. Come on. Come on, baby. Right behind the linebacker, Colvin. Would have been cool to make someone miss there, but we go into the 4th. Bo Nix, clean game. 209 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers. And we're able to punch that drive on, but missed the extra point. Arizona settles for a field goal. Look at that drive right there, man. Killing off the game. We settle for a field goal. They get a touchdown. It's garbage time. It don't matter. That is 4 Super Bowls. 1 for the Denver. I don't know if we've won 4. Give me 1 second here. Bears Super Bowl. We've won 1, 2, 3. We won 4 with the Bears. The very first one we did. That might be it. We at least equal the Bears. And I tell you what, the Bears weren't 96s across the board. I think this is the best team we have built in a rebuild. We went 3-0 playoff run. We got Super Bowl win versus Arizona. And Bo freaking Nix. I'm gonna be honest. I thought this was gonna be one of those rebuilds. I don't think we're ever gonna have a rebuild in a 10-year rebuild that I don't win at least one Super Bowl. It might happen. If it does happen, that's gonna be an absolute mean. But I thought this was gonna be tough. I thought Bo Nix, older rookie, normal dev trait. I thought the window that we were gonna have to win with Bo Nix was gonna be small. And I thought this is gonna be a rebuild where if we didn't win a Super Bowl, say in the first 6 years, and we actually won our first Super Bowl on year 6, coming off of a Bo Nix MVP campaign, that Bo Nix was going to hit that wall, he's going to hit that age, start regressing, start losing dev traits, and we'd have to like probably pivot to a different quarterback, maybe year 8, 9, and 10 in this rebuild. But luckily enough, good old Bo Nix gets the job done, and to give him a morale boost, I'm giving him a Super Bowl MVP to wrap up this rebuild. So thank you guys very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below what team you guys want to see 10-year rebuilt next. And until that time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya, have a good one.